In Augusta, silence cuts through the air. The grass shines like a diamond, and every shot weighs like a sentence. Here, pressure isn't seen, it's heard. In the held breaths, in the slow steps toward the green, in the murmurs that precede disaster. The Masters is the stage where legends are crowned and where they also collapse. Because for every champion who slips on the green jacket, there's another who walks away with his head down, wondering what the hell just happened. Today, we won't be watching victories. We're going to relive the toughest, most embarrassing, and surreal mistakes that have forever marked the history of this tournament. Shots that went wrong, very wrong. Mental meltdowns, inexplicable decisions, and moments so absurd, it's hard to believe they happened in front of millions of people. From balls lost in the rough to scorecards signed with errors that destroyed careers. From viral slips to comments that angered the golf gods. If you ever thought golf was calm, this video will change your mind forever. Welcome to Augusta, where the course doesn't forgive and mistakes are eternal. 15. Tiger Woods. The day Augusta bit back. A year earlier, Tiger Woods had completed one of the most legendary comebacks the sport has ever seen. 2020. He returns to Augusta as the defending champion. The hero was back. But the course had other plans. Everything unraveled on the 12th hole, right in the heart of Amen Corner, Augusta's most ruthless corner. Tiger prepares. Focused. Perfect swing. And the ball into the water. One mistake, nothing Tiger couldn't handle. He regroups. Second shot, into the water. Third shot, again, into the water. Total silence. Commentators speechless. Fans frozen. The world watching as the legend fell. 3 consecutive balls into Race Creek. 3, the king of the Masters, trapped in his own hell. On the 4th try, he clears the water, but lands in the bunker. From there, he finally reaches the green after 8 strokes. 2 more putts, and he signs the worst score of his entire career on a single hole at Augusta. A 10. That day, Augusta didn't bow to the legend. That day, it reminded everyone that not even Tiger Woods stands above the course. 14. Ernie Els. The hole that devoured him alive. Augusta can bring out the best in you and also destroy you in public. And if there's a painful example of that, it's Ernie Els in 2016. Everything seemed normal. First round. First hole. A legend of the tour. Major champion. Calm. Experienced. It was the perfect moment to start on the right foot. He steps onto the green. Short putt. Very short. The kind you make with your eyes closed. He hits it. And the ball misses. No big deal. Second try. Miss. Third. Miss. Fourth. Miss. Time freezes. What should have been routine turns into a slow-motion ritual of torture. The crowd doesn't know whether to watch or cover their eyes. When he finally sinks it, he's already taken 6 strokes, just with the putter. Total score. 10 on a par 4. On the first hole of the tournament. A psychological blow. A live mental collapse. All under Augusta's silent gaze. Moral of the story. When the yips show up, not even years of glory can save you. And Augusta forgives no one. 13. Scott Hoch. The putt that was worth a jacket. Augusta. 10th hole. Playoff for the title. Scott Hoch has the green jacket within reach. Nick Faldo has just made bogey. The door is open. Everything depends on 2 putts. That's it. The first, from about 30 feet. A short putt. Practiced 1,000 times. Made 1,000 times. All he has to do is tap it. And the Masters will be his. But then something breaks. Hoch starts circling the hole as if trying to solve a riddle. He studies it from every angle. Walks around. Breathes. Hesitates. Takes too long. Total silence. And with every passing second, that putt grows into a monster. Finally, he strikes. And in the worst possible combination, he reads break, but hits it hard. The ball rolls past, keeps going, almost 5 feet, and with it, rolls away his chance at history. He makes the next putt, tie, but his confidence is gone. On the next hole, Faldo attacks. Birdie from over 20 feet. Ruthless. The Masters is his. Scott Hoch is left without the jacket by less than a meter. 12. Billy Horschel. Rock and roll at Augusta. The Masters is golf's Wimbledon tradition. Silence, absolute respect for every blade of grass. But in 2021, Billy Horschel decided it was time to break every unspoken rule. Third round, 7th hole. The day wasn't going his way, and Billy made sure everyone knew it. He grabbed his wedge and smashed it against his bag. Once, twice, 3 times. As if the green were a stage, and he were the drummer for Metallica. And that was just Act 1. Later, on the 13th hole, facing Rays Creek, most players would have done the sensible thing. Take the penalty, drop, and move on. But not Billy. He took off his shoes, rolled up his white pants as if he were about to wash his car, and waded into the water. Spoiler: wet Augusta doesn't forgive. Slip, flat on his back. The thud echoed through the pines. The cameras caught it all. The video went viral, and the golf gods covered their eyes. Moral of the story: in Augusta, when you step into the mud, you don't just get dirty. The whole course drags you down with it. 11. Kenny Perry. 2 holes. From heaven and from hell. 2 holes left. Just 2. And 8-year-old Kenny Perry was about to become the oldest winner in Masters history. The crowd was buzzing. Commentators were already writing the headline. And Perry, calm, precise, seemed to have the tournament in the palm of his hand. But Augusta always collects its due. 17th hole. Short iron. He just needed to hit the green. He pushed it right. Not a disaster, but the first alarm bell rang. A chip left to save par. And he hit it like it was Sunday. On the wrong course. Offline. Flat. Hard. A mistake that hurt just to watch. 18th hole. He still had room. Still a chance to win. But he missed the green again. Another shot gone. And destiny was sealed. Playoff. Angel Cabrera stayed solid. Perry, on the other hand, faltered again. And with that final mistake, the green jacket slipped away. What he said afterward was as honest as it was devastating. The great players get it done. The average ones don't. Raw. No excuses. No sugarcoating. That day, Perry didn't take home the Masters. But he took something you can't win with trophies. Absolute respect. 10. Bryson DeChambeau. The man who challenged Augusta. And lost. Bryson had just dominated the U.S. Open. He was riding high. He felt unstoppable. And with a driver in his hands, he looked more like a superhero than a golfer. He walked into Augusta as if it were his backyard, and dropped the line that set off every alarm. For me, this course is a par 67. Yes, he said it. Not 72, not 70. 67. According to him, the par 5 seconds were guaranteed birdies, and even some par 4 seconds seemed easy. Basically, he called one of the most feared courses on the planet friendly. Fans froze. Traditionalists clutched their heads. And Augusta listened. What came next wasn't a lesson, it was a punishment. His game fell apart. He couldn't find a fairway to save his life. On the 3rd hole, he lost a ball in the rough, just a few yards from the fairway. Gone. As if the course had swallowed it out of pride. He complained of dizziness, walked around dazed, but the course showed no mercy. It stripped away his arrogance and his smile. In the end, the same man who had called Augusta a par 67 shot 2 rounds of 74 and missed the cut. Bags packed before the weekend. quick lesson for everyone. Don't challenge the monster unless you're ready for it to bite. 9. Rory McIlroy. From promise to nightmare in 18 holes. Rory McIlroy, 21 years old, babyface. Curls blowing in the wind, and the golf world at his feet. For 3 days, Augusta was his playground. 65 bogey-free, 69, 70, 4-shot lead heading into Sunday. The green jacket already seemed to have his name stitched on it. But Augusta never signs early. On Sunday, something changed. At first, small mistakes. Nothing alarming until the 10th hole. A drive gone wrong. Very wrong. The ball ended up among a cluster of cabins nobody even knew existed. The cameras had never shown them before, that's how far off course he was. And then, everything fell apart. On the 13th, his ball found Rae's Creek. His head was gone. His composure too. Final score, 80. The worst round of the day. From leading comfortably to walking off defeated and shattered. It was a brutal collapse. So unexpected. It nearly broke a future legend before he was born. 8. The slip that almost changed history. Not every blunder at Augusta comes from the players. 2019. 14th hole. Tiger Woods had just pulled off an incredible shot through the trees. He was in full champion mode. The crowd pressed in. Cameras unblinking. Tiger walked forward, focused, unstoppable. And then, the security guard appeared. He ran to control the crowd. Wet ground. Bad angle. He slipped and launched himself, unintentionally, like he was making a Premier League tackle. Tiger didn't even see it coming. The guard's foot flew inches from Tiger's leg. For a second, everything stopped. Total silence. The entire world held its breath. One wrong step more, and that tournament ends in injury, not victory. But Tiger, as always, escaped the trap unscathed. A glance, a step back, and right back to business. A glance, 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 a glance. That day, he'd go on to win the Masters. And the guard went down in history, not as a hero, but as the guy who almost took out the champion by accident. 8-0. Tomi Nakajima, the year golf turned against him. Augusta is known for exposing your weaknesses. But with Tomi Nakajima, in 1978, it didn't stop there. It exposed them publicly, in neon lights. It was his first Masters, and everything was going well, very well, until the 13th hole. There, as always, waited Rae's Creek. Silent, serene, deadly. Nakajima went for it, an aggressive second shot. The ball rolled, grazed the green, and dropped into the water by inches. Any other player would have taken the drop, but not him. He took off his shoes, stepped into the water, and decided to hit from inside the creek. What followed was a painful spectacle. The club splashed the water. The ball didn't move. Another swing, another miss, penalty after penalty. When he finally escaped the hole, he had signed for a 13, the worst single-hole score in Masters history at the time. But the worst was yet to come. Months later, at the British Open, he tangled with history again. Stuck in the infamous bunker on the 17th at St Andrews. 4 swings to get out. 5 strokes lost. And with that, a phrase was born that would follow him forever. The Sands of Nakajima. 2 legendary courses. 2 consecutive nightmares. 1 single year. 1 single name. And 1 brutal lesson. In golf, disaster can have a memory. 6. Ed Sneed. 3 holes. 3 bogeys. And the history that never was. Ed Sneed had everything under control. He'd led confidently throughout the entire tournament. He reached the last 3 holes with a 3-shot lead. He could make bogey on each one and still win the Masters. That's what the math said. And that's exactly what he did. Bogey, bogey, bogey. But Augusta doesn't understand math. It only punishes. On the 16th, his par putt circled the hole and refused to drop. On the 17th, the same story. The ball flirted with the edge and mocked him at the end. He arrived at 18 needing only to hang on, but the decisive putt stopped inches short of glory. The pressure had devoured him. The murmur of the crowd felt like a weight on his chest. And when he reached the playoff, there was nothing left. Fuzzy Zoeller, a newcomer, seized the moment. He won, becoming the first rookie to do so since 1935. Sneed could only watch and let out that sea they say still echoes among the pines of Augusta. Moral of the story: at Augusta, not even a lead keeps you safe. Nothing is won until the last ball drops. 5. Gary McCord, the joke that closed Augusta's doors. Augusta isn't just a tournament. It's a ritual, a place where everything, from the grass to every spoken word, must remain untouchable. But in 1994, CBS commentator Gary McCord tried to be funny, and Augusta didn't laugh. It all happened during an afternoon broadcast. McCord, known for his relaxed and cheeky style, was flipping through a magazine during a commercial break. Between the pages' creams, massages, he spotted something that sparked his imagination: Brazilian waxing. And then, live on air. He said the greens at Augusta were so fast they must have had a Brazilian wax. The purists shifted uncomfortably in their seats. But he wasn't done. Minutes later, he described the contours of a green as body bags. That was it. The point of no return. The members of Augusta National didn't hear a joke. They heard disrespect. Blasphemy. The result? Banned for life. He never called another Masters again. All for one spa joke. And another, far worse. Because at Augusta, there's an unwritten rule everyone knows. You don't come here to be funny. You come here to show respect. 4. Jordan Spieth. The Sunday when the dynasty vanished. Jordan Spieth, 22 years old, 2 majors, defending champion, and a streak of 7 straight rounds leading at Augusta. Not even Tiger had done that. That Sunday, he started the back 9 with a 5-shot lead. Everything pointed to a new era, a dynasty in motion. But Augusta always waits for its moment. Bogey on 10? Nothing alarming. Bogey on 11. The tension begins to creep in. And then came the 12th hole, the most feared par 3 on the planet. 2 balls into the water, 1 into the bunker, and a putt that simply refused to drop. In barely half an hour, he signed a quadruple bogey. 7 strokes on a hole meant to be played in 3. From leading by 5 to trailing by 3. It wasn't a stumble. It was a head-on collision with pressure, stage, and history. On the course where he once looked untouchable, he broke. Years later, Spieth said, "I didn't collapse. Maybe it was just a technical mistake." But for the millions who watched it live, it was a fall impossible to forget. 3. Sergio Garcia. From champion to complete disaster in a single hole. Sergio Garcia returned to Augusta as the defending champion. He had confidence, he had experience, and he wanted to recreate the magic of 2017. But on the 15th hole, known as Firethorn, everything exploded. A par 5, usually synonymous with birdie, sometimes even eagle, but it hides a silent trap. And Sergio triggered it in full. His first approach shot was good. It hit the green, but the ball spun back slow, sneaky, and rolled into the water. Frustrating, but recoverable. He dropped, took a breath, and tried again. Into the water. Again, and then again, and again. 5 consecutive balls all to the same spot. It looked as if the lake had a magnet. The crowd watched in silence, torn between horror and pity. When he finally managed to keep one on the green, it was far too late. A few puts later, he signed for a 13, one of the worst single-hole scores in Masters history. All this on the same course where 12 months earlier he'd been celebrated as a hero. That day wasn't just a bad hole. It was a total implosion. A fall no champion ever wants to experience, and one Augusta will never let him forget. 2. Greg Norman. The collapse that redefined the word meltdown. Greg Norman entered Sunday with a 6-shot lead. 6. No one in Masters history had ever blown a lead that big in the final round. Until he did. And the worst part? It wasn't a sudden collapse. It was a drip. Slow, silent, relentless. A putt that leaps out by millimeters. A shot that veers off just when precision matters most. And meanwhile, his playing partner Nick Faldo smells blood and doesn't hesitate to attack. The lead starts to dissolve. 6, 4, 3, 2. By the time they reach Amen Corner, Norman isn't walking anymore. He's dragging himself. His trademark composure is gone. The confident stare too. All that's left is the weight of the moment, crushing him. He finishes the round with a 78. From leading by 6 to losing by 5. The final silence says it all. Even Faldo, cold as stone, hugs him and whispers, "I don't know what to say." And really, what can you say to someone who's just lived his worst nightmare? Live before the entire world. That day, Augusta didn't just deny him the green jacket. It stripped him of his very identity. 1. Roberto De Vicenzo. The most costly mistake in golf. This wasn't a bad shot, nor a moment of pressure. It was something colder, more absurd, more cruel. 1968. Roberto De Vicenzo, the Argentine golf legend, had just signed a brilliant round 65 strokes. He was perfectly positioned to enter a playoff for the Masters title. But then, the detail that changed everything. His playing partner, Tommy Aaron, mistakenly wrote down a par on the 17th hole. Roberto had actually made a birdie. No one double-checked. And he signed the card. And in golf, the rule is crystal clear. If you sign for a higher score, that's the one that counts. So his 65 became a 66. And that single extra stroke kept him out of the playoff. Bob Golby champion. When Roberto realized it, he said just one line. Dry. Brutal. What a stupid I am. A human error. A rushed signature. A green jacket that never came. And so, on his 45th birthday, De Vicenzo unintentionally wrote the most unforgettable mistake in Masters history. And there you have them. Moments so embarrassing they still sting. Mistakes that defined careers. Blunders that changed history. All in the one place where a single inch can cost you everything. Augusta National. If this video pulled you in, hit subscribe and ring the bell. Every week, we revisit real, tense, unpredictable stories, where the best compete and the mistakes live forever. Tell us in the comments, which of these moments hurt you the most? And which one was simply unforgivable? Thanks for watching. See you on the next hole.